Uh, I would like to talk about men and women differences. Why women and men different from each other? Of course, this is a very mysterious question which requires a mysterious answers. Of course, talking about the differences between men and women, not the differences among them in terms of their humanity, but in terms of their differences. Some people claims that these differences originate from their sex. Of course, the gender differences hypothesis requires serious attention, serious reflection, and serious approaches. But when we ask what are the differences between men and women, or when we make comparison between men and women in terms of their sexual aspects, that does not mean that we are talking about whether women and men are equal or not. So let me tell you my argument at the beginning. Yes, men and women are different, but they are equal. They are too different, but they are too equal. So this is the main idea I would like to talk to you today. Of course, when people talk about men and women, they think that there are two sexes in our humanity. One man, in one side, man, the other side is woman. So they are considering, for example, the opposite of female woman is man, the opposite of man is woman. So they are constructing such a oppositionary relations between men and women. Then, of course, these oppositionary ideas lead us to conclude that there are differences between men and women which we can't reconcile these differences. And of course, this oppositionary and let's say differential approach they claims that men and the differences between men and women, they are too deep and they don't understand each other because they are two different creatures. They are two different beings. So this leads us the idea that men and women can't understand each other because they are too different. Well, I think, I mean, people like talk about the differences between men and women too much, and they think that claiming differences between men and women, they are absolute facts. But when we look at the data, when we look at the women and women experience and men experience, we realize that sex-related differences hypothesis is not as strong as or as reliable as it seems. Let us ask a question. What is the source of men and women differences? Of course, if there are differences. To answer this question, people can reply the answer for these questions in various angles. People can put different, can organize different theories in order to answer these questions. But that does not mean that these theories are correct. First of all, there is no true, correct answer for the question of the origin of men and women differences. But these are good ideas, good approaches, if they help us to understand men and women differently. If these theories become obstacles in front of us which prevents us to understand each other better, then simply there is no value in this theory or in these answers. So the reason we are raising this question, the reason we are thinking about these questions is to understand, to explore each other better. Because we can't explore humanity without exploring woman humanness. We can't explore humanity without exploring man humanness. So the main motivation, the main objective, our main objective is to explore humanity. Exploration of humanity requires the exploration of man and woman together. Yes, if men and women are different, what makes them so different from each other? What is the source of their differences? When we look at men and women, obviously their biological constitutions is not the same. Women biology and men biology, they are different from each other. So, can biology be the source of these differences? Some people say yes. Why? Because they say that the genes, the chromosome, the callosomes, hormones, the biological the parts of women and men and women, they are different from each other because their genes are different, their hormones are different, their testosterone and estrogen are different, their brain structure are different. Even they say their brain, males basically right sphere dominant while women left sphere dominant. So these biological differences, they think that change men and women aspects. Probably that is why they say women or men, they learn things differently. Or because of these biological aspects, men are more aggressive than women. Well, of course, what we learn from biological approach doesn't allow us to say the differences between men and women comes from biology. The only thing probably we see is this. There are incredible amount of variations in man and woman biological structure. Evolutionary approach said that man and woman biological structure evolved through the passage of time in order to adapt themselves to environmental conditions. So evolutionary approach basically yes, fundamentally it is about our biological development, but at the same time it allows us to see how our biological constitution interact with environment. So biology and environment together probably shapes men and women, the differences between men and women. Well, uh, some, I mean, when you, again, the other theory which look at which look at men and women in terms of biological structure is psychoanalytic theory. Freud is the main representative of this theory. When Freud look at man and woman biology, he claims that when women look at the man, he realized that there is something more in man but women don't have it. This is penis. And women, they are envious. They are envy of man's penis. That is why they desire their father. So Oedipus complex is the main source which makes man, man, man source of the differences between man and woman. Penis envy, basically, he claims that. And then also there is another opposite voice which comes from Karen Horney, and she said when woman and man look at their bodily structure, they are envy of woman body because women, they have womb, which is the source of life, the birthplace of human life, human existence. And men never have such body. So man is envy of woman body, probably. So womb envy is the source of men and the source of the differences between men and women. Well, I think at the same time, Freud just look at human biology. But Karen Horney, she is paying attention biological factors as well as social factors too. So Karen accept that social factors also shapes the differences between men and women alongside with biological factors. So I think there is another theory which changed the direction. He said, no, if you want to understand the differences between men and women, you have to look at not biological factors, you have to look at the sociology, society. So now biology is no longer the center, but sociology, society is the center. Albert Bandura, he is very important psychologist and social scientist who developed the theory of social learning. He said that people learn as a result of observing others. So he coined the concept of observational learning or modeling. So people think that how can I learn to become a man or to become a woman? So there must be a model in front of me. I look at my father, I look at my friends, I look at around and see my mother behaved this way. So I should follow her behavior in order to behave like a woman. Or I should follow my father behavior or my brother behavior or my friend's behavior in order to become in order to behave like a man. So, of course, men and women, they learn different things from other people, from their observations. So, men and women are different because they are learning different things. So, their observational learning or their modeling is different. That is why men and women are different from each other. And of course, modeling at the same time, re observational learning, and at the same time, the power of reinforcement. What is the power of reinforcement? When girls behaves like a girl, her mother shows a positive reaction, and girl understand that her mother is happy with her behavior. For example, when girl play with Barbie doll, her mother is happy. But when girls play with toy pistol, probably her mother is not going to be happy. And she said, "Oh, what are you doing, girl? You are a girl and you are playing with a toy pistol." I mean, through her face, through her verbal reaction, somehow her mother, make her feel that she is not happy about what she is doing. So then she realized that she plays with Barbie doll rather than toy pistol. Or we can give similar example from men experience. When people around girls and boys react, somehow they show that girls play or behave in this way, boys plays in this way, and they understand that. So the external reaction they received from people around them reinforce whether they should follow this girly or boyish behavior. So reinforcement alongside observational learning is another important factor, probably uh, which makes which creates differences between men and women. Uh, you know, of course, uh, boys and girls, when they interact, when they socialize with the rest of community, with the rest of family members or friends and other people, uh, they think that if they behave according to the gender roles and norms of society, society will give them reward or will show a negative reaction. So socialization is the source of differences between men and women. But when there is an important point there we have to emphasize. Basically, we assume that parents, mothers and fathers, they have incredible influence on their children. Of course they are. But some people argues that yes, the influence of parents is important, but peers' influence is more important than parents' influence. So probably parents and peers' influences together is another source of the differences between men and women. Uh, of course, and at the same time, society, I mean, observational learning, reinforcement, parents, peers, and at the same time, society determines roles for men and women. So every man and woman, they have to play their role which have been assigned by society for them. If, for example, if society said that men must work in outside and women they must take care of house affairs, so that means that is the role which has been roles which have been determined by society. So the task of the important task of men and women to play their role. So this is a sort of social task. And yes, biology, society, family tells men and women how they should behave as a man and woman. But as a result of all these processes, men and women, they acquire some ideas, some knowledge, some habits, which determines their male identity and female identity. So, yes, biological factors is in place, is important. Social factors is important, and in this another important probably factor is cognitive factors. How men and women construct or gain all this knowledge or ideas in their cognitive structure. And sometimes, or probably in most cases, men and women, they have schemic, schema in their mind, in their cognition. They say, for example, when we ask, who is woman or who is man? We can say, woman is the one who can cook very well. So that means we have a schema about woman who can cook very well. Or we can ask the question of who is man? We can say, man is the one who can construct heavy work such as working in construction business. So here the schema is working in heavy workings in heavy businesses. So this is a schema. So far we talk about biological factors, we talked about social factors, we talked about cognitive, mental factors, which could be the source of the differences between men and women. Yes, of course, men and women behave in different ways. They are not the same. But there is another factors we have to talk about. Men and women show different behaviors according to their situations. So, situational factors are important. Situational factors determines why a man and woman behave differently. In some situations, women, they show very peaceful, very friendly attitude, behaviors. But in some situation, a woman shows very aggressive, very assertive, very dominating behaviors. The same thing is valid for men. So probably situational factors is another important aspect of men and women differences. As we said, whether you look at the biological, sociological, social, cognitive, situational angles to differences between men and women, there is no certain answers. But what we must understand, yes, men and women are different. because being different is a part of being humans. Let's celebrate our differences as men and women, but not use and abuse our differences in order to degrade and humiliate our common humanity. Thank you very much.